Hello, everyone. Today's episode is very tragic and interesting. And it's a case that's just, I describe it later in the episode as like pulling the thread of a sweater and just unraveling it slowly and seeing like that it just keeps coming and as what's underneath, and it's just layer and layer, and it just, the further you look, the more there is to see, and the more you know, the less you understand. And this case is the case of the Murdaugh family murders, both within the Murdaugh family and murders outside the family. And a lot of you might be familiar with this case already. There are some documentaries on this because, like I said, because of how bizarre and insane it goes. Regardless, today's episode still, it's there's a lot of talking points on this and a lot of things that are worth diving into and looking into, and we cover a lot of ground today. So stay tuned to find out more about the Murdaugh family. Hi! Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. Two peas in a crime pod.
This is episode 63.
63.
This is my wonderful daughter, Courtney.
That's me.
She's fabulous.
This is my much more fabulous mother who birthed me.
What can I say?
Kelly.
That's the only reason I'm fabulous, because I birthed 3 fabulous kids who ended up having kids that were fabulous. And
arguably she birthed like for sure one fabulous kid, and then she had some other kids. They're cool. Just kidding. I love my brothers.
So see this smile on her face? She is putting that on because this has been a bad morning for her.
It's been a rough morning for me.
She didn't even put eye makeup on because her eyes were puffy from crying all night. She had a bad night, and it's been rough. It's been a rough like decade. So it's really no different than any other time. So I appreciate your smile, and I hope that this podcast cheers you up a little bit. And
the horrors persist, but so does this horror.
I do have a special surprise for you that I think will put a genuine smile on your face and maybe a little
depending on
twinkle in your eye.
How touching it is, I'll probably start crying about that. So go ahead.
Okay, well, look the other way and close your eyes.
Oh, God. It's a surprise, guys. Hold on.
It's a surprise.
I'm so excited. Hold on. I have no idea what the fuck she's doing right now.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
They're so closed, Mama.
Okay. Now if I can get to the surprise.
Did you hide it in your titties?
Yes.
I love a titty surprise.
I had to.
Is it under them?
Yes.
Have to find it.
Okay, I had to move my microphone. Okay.
Can I open my eyes?
You may open your eyes.
If you can't read it, her shirt says, "We'll suck dick for Cheddar Bay biscuits."
True story.
Mom, that's the best thing I've ever seen.
Okay, good.
That was a wonderful surprise.
Thank you.
I love a surprise.
I try really hard to
I
make
saw you wearing
smile.
that pink shirt under there.
And you were probably like, what's going on? She never dresses like that.
I was like, yeah, why is she wearing? But I just thought, oh, whatever. She was at the store and doing all kinds of things while I was deciding if I was going to get out of bed or not. Just fucked up her whole morning, so.
Yeah, I wore this to Walmart.
Just like that?
I put the shirt on over it, but I didn't have it buttoned until you got here, because she got here the same time I did when I pulled in from Walmart. Like, I'm trying to button it up so she can't see it. But yeah, I had it on, and I was like, that would make a good episode if I was like, had to wear this around where people could actually read it just to get their reactions.
Have you ever seen those clips on YouTube where they do it a lot for parties or reunions or something, where like a group of good friends are together and everybody gets somebody else to shop for, and they get their size and they pick up like something that would make that person uncomfortable or that's funny for them.
Yeah, and they usually go to like a thrift store.
And it's something like this. Like sometimes they order them and it's something like heinous like this and they have to like wear it around all day then. I think that would be so funny. Oh, I love it so much, Mom. Okay, that's good. Awesome.
Thank you. It's too tight. I got a 3X and it fits, but it's skin tight. I should have got it like a 5X if I'd have wanted it to just be a regular size t-shirt.
Well, you know what? You're losing weight still, so it won't be tight soon.
Okay, well, I hope you're right about that. I've gained 2 pounds from where I started 2 months ago. So I started at 269, went down to 255, or no, less than that, 251. And then...
You're 271 now?
I'm at 271 as of this morning.
I thought you started that other thing that's not Ozempic, but it's something else.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, well, that's why. Just be patient. Once you get it,
It's about me. I just have to get back in I totally lost steam for the diet. I just hate it. And Chris is he lost 30 pounds in 2 months and I gained 2 pounds.
Well, don't eat out of spite, okay?
So I've been doing like 3 burritos from Taco Bell. Yesterday I had 2 original chicken sandwiches for dinner from Burger King. And
not a good choice.
You know, I'm eating sweets that I shouldn't be eating because of my diabetes and because of the diet. They're always high in calories. But Chris is going to have a talk with me because I told him this morning because he was like, I hope you have a good day at a podcast, honey. And he texted me that. And I was like, I just weighed myself and I'm up 2 pounds from where I was 2 months ago. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't get back into the groove of the diet. And every day I start out wanting to, and then I just blow it. And I really want to smoke.
No more fast food.
I really want cigarettes bad.
You better.
I have so considered it. I have so considered it. And I have this rider that wanted a smoke break, and I almost was like, can I have one? And I didn't. I'm being good, but it's taken all my willpower. And
good.
And I'm just eating instead. And
stop it.
I just... He said, well, I'm going to motivate you. That's my job. So he said, we'll talk about it later. So probably tomorrow when he's off. And yeah, I told him the problem is you like me no matter what I look like. I had my hair cut like 1 inch long. I looked like a boy, a big fat round boy. And he still loved me. And
do you need him to start calling you a fat bitch?
Yeah. When I was married to Keith, he oohed and awed other people, like other women on TV in front of me, and always made me feel like I was overweight. And I wish I was that weight now that he thought was overweight.
Mom, this wouldn't work. If Chris acted like he was repulsed by you, you would be like, there's no sense in living anymore. It wouldn't work.
It probably wouldn't, but it is a problem that he loves me. There's no motivation. I'm just like...
You can't look for external motivation.
I know.
You have to find motivation within. We all can't babysit you enough for you to not want to die of congestive heart failure and diabetes. Only you can prevent forest fires, Kelly. Only you.
Thank you, Smokey.
Yeah.
So that's my life in a nutshell right now. But I'm happy and moving along other than the little...
I will tell you, though, you've been motivated, you've been moving, you've been grooving, you've been doing things. So that's good. You know, like, just look for your tiny victories, Mom. You're busy, you're involved.
I am super busy. Let me tell you this.
You're showing up, and...
I haven't discussed it with you, but I am considering going down to 2 episodes a week. Because I haven't had any time to do the furniture refinishing that I want to do. I don't think I'm going to be able to make that a second income. It's going to be hard to sell from what I've gathered. I would really have to put all my time into it. And I'd rather put all my time into the podcast.
This, yeah.
But I have 4 pieces of furniture that I have to do.
We at least need to have a turnover on those.
So I'm thinking maybe cut down to 2 so I can have at least a day or two a week to get the furniture done.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back to 3. But I'm so busy, there's just no time.
Well, and we have vacation coming up.
We do.
So that's going to be, that's always hard to record in preparation for a vacation, to have episodes ready for when we're gone.
Right.
And those weeks are like insane for you.
So would that be okay with you if we went down to 2?
Yeah. It's not like I don't have plenty going on.
Right.
Or like I don't have 5 dressers of yours in my garage now.
I know.
And tables of mine in the basement. So
we both need to get there, and we can do it together, and it'll be fun.
And the weather's turned around. We'll be able to be in the garage.
Yes.
Pull stuff out, work in the driveway. It's nice weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea. So, viewers, in the coming weeks, we might only be dropping 2 episodes a week. But then once we get this furniture out of the way, because again, like well, let's be real. I love to say I told you so, but I told Mom she should just buy one dresser and see how it goes and like not being psycho. And then she was like, right. And then she bought 5 from all over Northeast Ohio. So it's going to take a little time to refinish those, and don't tell her I said that.
She already said it to me. So we already know. We are aware. We are aware of our impulsivities. But we forgot to thank you for subscribing and liking and commenting. We got another comment on one of our, it was a short that we did. It was like an early short where it was police,
I don't remember seeing a comment.
It was domestic violence
I
training.
signed out of I'm in mine.
Oh, okay.
Because I was watching old funny videos, and I realized, I was like, why won't they come up? Because if you've watched them before, it should like go to the top.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm signed in with under the podcast. Mom's going to be like, what the fuck are these weird videos you're watching? That's why I need to switch back over so I get my notifications.
Yeah. It was the domestic violence training in the 80s.
Right.
And she commented, it's still happening today.
Yeah.
So I was like, ugh, yeah, definitely. But I think we're doing better today. It's a step up.
I'd say yes. It's definitely better than it was, but it's not correct. It's not how it should be.
There could be some improvements.
Yeah, for sure.
But I would like to commend our police for the improvements that they have shown since the 80s. There's definitely been progress. I mean, I definitely feel like if I called the police, I would be protected. I don't feel that they would just ignore, what was going on.
Yes.
So that's a good thing. It might not be, I think that would definitely be their training. It might not be how they feel inside, but they know they're going to lose their job if they act how they really feel. So they have to do their job the way they were trained to. But something happened.
I think it has to do with where we live too, because our crime rate in our area isn't that bad. Like there certainly is crime and things like that, but it's not like terrible. So the police aren't so inundated that they're like, there's murders every day here. Like, Jesus Christ, lady, I got shit to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, I can't deal with your stalker. Like, lock your doors. What do you want to mean? You know what I mean? Like, they have a little bit more time and resources and energy to help us here. I feel like sometimes part of it is the police just being spread too thin too.
That could very well be. That could be a problem too. And what can we do about it unless we raise taxes? And who the hell wants to do that?
Yeah, no. Yesterday was the first day in a long time for me that I had to just say, I'm just going to put $50 in my gas tank instead of like letting it pump until it's full.
Okay.
Because it was like $4.20 something a gallon.
Now.
I was like, okay.
We were doing so good. We were at $2 a gallon.
Like, let's see what this gets me because I can't afford to fill my tank. Right? There's no fucking way. And I told you I got all this stuff that I'm supposed to pay for this week. And I was like,
I know.
nope, not going to do that. Not going to drive my car anywhere until I absolutely have to this week because...
Yeah, that's me as an Uber driver. I am losing my profit in my gas tank.
Yeah, yes. Oh, absolutely.
So it sucks. But...
Yeah, I looked into door dashing. But that's my, like, between my vehicle being on its last leg anyway, so me needing to, like, do I need to use my vehicle or not? You know what I mean? Like, just being a little bit smarter about how it's doing. And gas, I was like, I don't know that that's really worth it. Like,
it probably wouldn't
risk
be.
reward, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, tough times. I know we're not the only one experiencing that. And I know it's higher
in other places.
Oh, fuck, if it's $4 here, it's probably $7 in California. It's probably...
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel bad. People are struggling right now. Not just us. We're struggling too.
We're all in it together.
Yeah. Solidarity. But nevertheless, here we are, and we are excited to bring you an interesting story.
We got an interesting one. Do you want to hear about it?
Yeah. I'm sure it's tragic, and I'm sure it's disturbing, and I'm sure I will be heartbroken for the victim. I just want to make sure I say that so that when I call it interesting, people don't think that I'm calloused. I have no concern for the victim.
Oh, I'm totally calloused. This is a good case. No. Honestly, this is a really interesting case, and there are a lot of ins and outs, a lot of twists and turns, and a lot of players.
Okay.
So buckle up, Buttercup.
Buckled.
Okay. Viewer discretion. I don't know if this is something that would trigger anybody. I just put what's going on. So there's teen partying and accidental drowning, murder.
Okay.
So
it sounds like a plot to a Scream movie so far.
It is.
Okay.
It could be, literally. All right, so this is a twisted tale of death and murder in one of the most influential and powerful families of the South. The family, the Murdaughs. Some people pronounce it Murdaugh.
I know this story.
Do you?
I've watched everything there is to watch on this case.
I mean, talk about interesting. There's so much going on.
Oh, yeah.
And it is crazy.
Oh, yeah. This case is wild and tragic.
So how would you pronounce it? I would pronounce it Murdaugh.
I think it's Murdaugh.
It's either or because it just depends on who's talking.
Yeah. I think in everything that I've watched, it was Murdaughs.
Okay. They are a prestigious family of lawyers in South Carolina. And some people have described them as having power in South Carolina similar to the mafia.
Well, because it's generational. The dad, the grandpa was a lawyer, and they're friends with the sheriff, and they're old money in that area, and yeah, they've touched every area of the community in some way or another, and so yeah, there's definitely some influence and some power, and maybe before this case there was some inklings of corruption and things like that are more blatant now, but
right. So it's the town of Hampton, South Carolina. It's a small community boasting 4 stoplights where the neighbors look out for each other and where the name Murdaugh is legendary among the residents. Everybody knows who the Murdaughs are. They control everything in Hampton through their law firm. It had been around since the early 1900s, and they were known to win every case they tried. Like if you wanted to win, you hired them.
Yeah.
They had big parties on Friday or Saturday nights. This is the kids. So you've got...
So this is... Sorry. This is the newest generation, the 2 sons, and they're just...
Buster and Paul.
Nepo babies. They're just these kids that kind of have this entitlement growing up in this town, knowing that their name means something. And instead of,
Paul more so than Buster. Buster wasn't known to be like that. Paul was more like that. Buster was known to be quiet, but...
Buster had the kind of like pride in his name, whereas Paul had the arrogance and entitlement with his name.
That's a good way to put it.
And Buster was following in his dad's footsteps, I believe, and was going... he was more like buckled down, if I'm remembering correctly.
That sounds right, but I didn't go into that too much.
I think Buster was like following...
Buster plays a very small role in this.
Buster was following in the family's footsteps, and Paul was reaping the benefits of the family.
There you go. That's exactly how it was going on. So basically, they'd have these parties, they'd have a bonfire, the high school kids would come out, and they would just hang out. You know, like kids do.
Yeah.
So the key members are Alec, the father. Some people call him Alex. A lot of people were just calling him Alec. So that's what I'm going to call him. Then we've got Maggie, his wife, and then Paul and Buster. There's Alec's father, who is the grandfather, the patriarch of the family. So Alec and Maggie did a lot for the community. They weren't just like, yeah, we're the rich ones, bow down and worship us. They actually had fundraisers for anyone in need. Alec and Maggie would always step up to help a neighbor or citizen in trouble. They held a Christmas toy drive every year, and their reputation was good, but people also feared them.
It's a little bit like if you ever watched Ozarks, the kind of vibe of like anybody who's throwing a fundraiser, you start to ask yourself like, well, why? Like, what's in it? Like, who are you? Who are you bribing? Who, like, is this money laundering? Is that like, it just always starts to seem like there's something not good behind the like superficial appearance of like, oh, it's a fundraiser, it must be good, you know? It just starts to seem off. Like that's my vibe on the family.
Okay. Well, the community feared them because they were so powerful. They were connected all the way up to the White House. This small little town in South Carolina. To me, it reminds me of The Firm, the movie The Firm, where they're just a small little firm in Memphis.
Yes.
But they're, controlling the mafia and anyways, their little firm, this family are the ones that put people in high power positions, such as the judges, the DA, and law enforcement.
Where if you're liked, it's great, and if you're not, it's a small town. Right.
So things start to unravel for this family in 2019. The date was February 23rd. And there was a boating accident involving one of the sons. And it was Paul. Yes. So a young girl ended up dying. Her name was Mallory Beach, and she was only 19 years old. Basically, a group of 6 people, ages 19 and 20, had all gone boating, and they were partying and drinking. Paul was intoxicated, but insisted on being the one to operate the boat.
He just became belligerent. That entitlement came out. He was like saying like, no one's going to drive my fucking boat but me. Like, get real. And, everybody felt really uncomfortable, but was like, well, we just have to do what Paul says. He'll just be even more mad if we don't. And it just became one of those peer pressure situations where and they were all drunk too. So like their thinking was, we're talking about very young people who are extremely intoxicated, and they're like, okay.
Paul's the big cheese. But he had this alter ego named Timmy, and Timmy was always looking for a fight. Basically, they were seeing signs of Timmy come out the drunker he got. And they were just like, okay, we don't want to go there. So they were just doing what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But basically, Paul and another boy named Connor had used Buster's ID to purchase the alcohol because he was underage, and they were shown on camera acting all party and wild.
Yeah,
because they came out of the store with the alcohol, and they're like, woohoo, we're gonna party now. I mean, just
I think they took the boat to the docks and went into a bar. I think they were ordering drinks from a bar. Yeah.
They got more at the bar. So Paul was actually known to drink from a very young age. And when they got back to the boat, he insisted, even though he was, wobbly and obviously intoxicated, he insisted to drive. He was speeding up and slowing down and driving real erratically and doing like boat donuts.
Yeah.
And the rest of the group was getting nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah. At 2:26 a.m., which would be the next morning, so February 24th, Connor called 911 to report a boat crash. Basically, they had hit a bridge, and he said they couldn't find Mallory, and several of them were injured. So Mallory's boyfriend was in the boat, and he had tried to hold on to her because they were driving erratically, but when you crash, I'm sorry, you can't.
She was ejected from the boat. Like, some of them just flew forward and like slammed their face into stuff and got really hurt. But she was ejected out of the boat.
And they couldn't find her.
And it was dark. The water was murky and cold. They couldn't find her. And the boyfriend, when I watched that documentary, that boy, he just has so much guilt and sorrow in him. And he was just a young boy, maybe a little immature and definitely not thinking clearly, but wasn't a bad kid and didn't want anything. He was just being a young guy. He was just drinking and having fun with his friends. And like weight of this whole thing, like, fell on him so hard. Like, it just hit him so hard. It breaks my heart when I watch him talk about it. And when you listen to the recording, like, you can hear him when they call 911 in the background. You can just hear him screaming for Mallory, and he's jumping in the water and trying to find her and do everything. And he's like drunk himself, and he's immediately trying to sober up. And like, his screams for her are just heartbreaking, devastating.
Yeah. And he's like cussing out the other guys because he thinks they're like smiling and they're not taking it seriously.
Yeah. And he's like, what the fuck, bro? Like, what are you doing? Like, where is Mallory? He's just going like, where the fuck is Mallory? And like, it's devastating.
Oh, it is. That's the thing about especially young males, because their frontal lobe is not fully formed and they don't have that. Young people already think nothing bad can ever really touch them.
Young people don't have a habit of like chess playing their lives. They're just in the moment, It's like rock, paper, scissors, everything. They're not thinking ahead like, well, what would happen?
Long-term consequences.
What would happen if something happened to us on this boat and the water's really cold and it's dark out? Like, maybe it's just not worth it, like.
Unfortunately. So several of them were also injured. And because it was Alex Murdaugh's son, Paul was treated differently from the get-go. So they went to the hospital, and Paul was acting obnoxious. He was so intoxicated, his blood alcohol level was 0.24. 0.08 is the legal limit.
Yeah.
But his father and grandfather came to the hospital and blocked him from law enforcement.
Yeah.
Basically, Alec wasn't there to comfort his son. It wasn't about that.
No, he was damage control.
That's all it was. It was to clear Paul's name and the family name, which was all important.
So everybody on the boat was all in agreement that Paul was the one driving. But wasn't it his cousin? I want to say it was his cousin was Connor. I think Connor is his cousin.
Okay, I don't know.
Don't quote me. That's what's popping in my head, but they like Alec and the grandpa show up right away, and they're like, yeah, it was Connor driving the boat. And like looking at these like young girls and this guy whose girlfriend's freaking missing, and they're like, it was Connor driving the boat.
Yeah, they used intimidation. They told Connor not to talk to the police, not to say who was driving the boat. And the parents all felt intimidated by them.
When Mallory's parents finally found out, they show up And they're told, like, you need to stay up here. Like, we're still investigating the scene and everything. And they're, like, terrified and what the fuck's going on. And what they see is, like, Alec and shit, like, down where they're being told you're not allowed to be because it's an investigation. And they're like, our fucking daughter's the one who's missing. Like, fuck you, I'm gonna go jump in the river. Like, I'm gonna go find her. Like, what do you mean? And they just felt right away like there was two classes of people.
Yeah.
Like the Murdaughs and everybody else.
Yeah.
And it made everybody very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. So, meanwhile, there were 11 boats, a helicopter, and divers looking for Mallory. They ended up searching for 5 days because they thought they might find her alive. Maybe she was just injured. But on March 3rd, they did find her, and she was not alive. The autopsy showed that she had blunt force trauma to the head, and she died of drowning. So, what a shame. Just so sad.
Yeah. It's tragic. Absolutely.
It was a totally unavoidable...
No, totally
avoidable accident.
Yeah.
It just is a shame.
And what makes me sad is you can see on the recording and you can hear in the things that were going on and their body language that, like, they all knew we shouldn't get on this boat. Like, we always have to do what Paul wants. Like, we always have to go along with it. Like, you could just tell that they were, like, uncomfortable by it. And, you know,
let that be a message to younger people.
If there's a little voice anywhere that says, maybe we shouldn't, then don't.
Yeah.
Call your parents, deal with getting your ass chewed, fucking walk home, find an Uber. Paul was rich, like, call an Uber, you know?
Never,
Go back up
ever.
to the bar and ask one of those people to give you a ride, something.
Yeah, this was 2019. Never, ever get into a vehicle intoxicated, planning to drive, or with somebody who's intoxicated, planning to drive.
Yeah,
it's just not worth it.
Just don't.
It just...
Call another friend, wake somebody up, wake up your parents. I can guarantee you. Wake up. Or if your parents are really, really, really fucking assholes, call another friend's parents. Whoever you know the cool parents are that won't chew your ass and will be like, thank you for making a good decision. I'm glad you called me. Call them.
There are people like that.
There are people like that.
You know who they are.
Yeah. Just call someone. Just call someone.
So at this time, people are really upset that they haven't arrested Paul. Social media is blowing up with accusations such as Paul was reckless, entitled, and had full parental support. They called out law enforcement. They wanted to know why state and local officials hadn't gone after the family and law enforcement for protecting the family. Then on April 18th of 2019, charges were finally filed against Paul. So the charge was felony boating under the influence, causing death and causing serious bodily injury. And Paul was facing up to 30 years. So that's a pretty serious sentence.
Yeah.
Paul pleaded not guilty and was released on personal recognizance bond of $50,000 because he had no criminal history. But Mallory's family thought that the low amount of the bond was a total slap in their face.
The Murdaughs were fucking rich.
Yeah.
They lived on this
sprawling
compound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just huge. 5 of everything you could ever want, at least. Like, they were not hurting for money.
Right.
Like, 50,000 is a fucking drop in. Like, they were probably like, oh, no problem, have that in cash. We don't even have to, like.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so.
Yeah. Mallory's family wanted Paul to own up to what happened and to feel sorry. And that wasn't going to happen. Alex was not going to let Paul say anything. Paul
didn't seem to give a shit anyways.
No,
like,
he didn't.
even if there was an inkling in him to want to say sorry, he was definitely getting hounded from his dad. Like, you better shut the fuck up and not say sorry at all, because that's like an admission of guilt. Like, you better just shut the fuck up. But I didn't really get a vibe from him. He kind of just seemed, I don't want to say he was sociopathic. I don't think it's that far. I think it's that he grew up in a weird environment And then on top of that, while his brain was still developing, he had a lot of alcohol. And I just think that he really needed like rehab and like some like intensive rehab and some time away, like at least 6 months. And then like maybe he would have been able to reflect then, but he was so deep in this family and in this environment of, I have whatever I want and I don't have to worry about anything. Like, what are consequences? That he was just really deeply lost. And he just didn't seem to care.
No. It was almost like it was beneath him. So from the beginning of the arrest, Paul was treated differently than other criminals. Alec made sure that the mugshot looked respectable. So he wasn't wearing an orange jumpsuit or standing in front of the height chart that they do. He was in a plaid preppy shirt in front of a plain white wall. It looked like a
senior pic.
It looked like a photo you might take for your passport.
Yeah.
So the trial was actually delayed for 2 years. And, Paul's just living free at home, living the good life.
Still having people over, still doing shit.
Yeah. On June 7th of 2021, another 911 call was made, and it was Alec Murdaugh. He said his wife and son, Paul, had been shot. So he said he had been gone, and when he returned, he found their bodies. The first thing he told the officers when they arrived was that Paul had been involved in a boating accident and had been receiving threats. He said it was social media. They didn't take the threats seriously, but that Paul had been being punched in public. He said whoever shot them had to be someone that had been threatening Paul. It had to be this group that, thought he was guilty and wanted him dead. The thing about Alec is he's a shrewd lawyer with decades of experience of manipulating juries. He knows what to say. He knows how to act. He knows how to use facial expression and wording to sway people to do what he wants. He's just used to it. He knows how people think.
Yeah.
He is good at manipulating the story to make it come out in his favor. And he really pushed the media threats story right from the start.
Yeah.
So that's what he wanted them focusing in on.
Something just seemed off from jump. Like from the 911 call, something seemed off. Like it just...
Right?
You could tell. Like,
So he was in the car, the police car. They didn't really do much investigating of him, but they asked him some questions like, where were you? And to tell as much as he could about what he found when he came home and what his day was like. So everything is on a dash cam video. And his alibi, he said he came home and laid down on the couch. After 25 or 30 minutes, he got up and called for Maggie, but she didn't answer. So he said he then left the house and went to his mom's house. And he said he was only gone a little while. He came home, and when he pulled up, he saw Paul and Maggie. At that point in the retelling, you see Alec break down and begin sobbing, and it just feels like acting.
It didn't feel genuine at all.
It just feels like acting. Now, the police officer said it felt real. The attorney, of course, people think he was, faking it, but this was really genuinely hurting him.
It wasn't.
So they had to ask what would his motive be for killing his wife and son. And the only motive that you could really think of was that his son had caused the family a lot of grief. So Interestingly, Alec wasn't immediately detained or anything beyond the telling of what happened in the patrol car. It's like, and I say this all the time, law enforcement is afraid to even seem accusatory to rich people.
Yeah.
It happened with the Ramseys. They totally screwed up that whole investigation. Yeah. It's like if you're rich, law enforcement there's like an unspoken
when you're poor,
rule.
They'll just tear through your fucking house and dust everything and flip everything and cut cushions open, and they don't care. But when you're rich, they're like, well, we better tiptoe around, you know.
And why? They still have a job to do. It just seems like an unspoken rule.
A stigma, yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that police don't do their job, because sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't, you know?
Well, I will say, when they showed up that night, the story that he was giving and the evidence that they had that night, even if you felt like his crying is off, this call was off, the things are off, that's not making sense, there wasn't enough to like arrest him that night. There
Right.
wasn't, you know, so...
Well, I think they should have tested him for gunshot
GSR,
residue.
yeah, there was like...
They should have taken...
there was more they could have done, though. Like, well, let's just get all this stuff out of the way right now to exonerate you and say we checked all the boxes. You know?
They could have taken the cell phones and verified his story of his alibi and with GPS, and I don't know. They just didn't do anything. Then, 2 days later, after Maggie and Paul are murdered, Randolph Murdaugh died. That was his dad. So Alec is now supposedly grieving over the loss of his wife and son, and also his father. So now
like
they're
the stress
really,
of all of this just like did granddad in. Like,
they're now, everybody's really like, poor Alec.
Yeah.
But, okay, in the background, Maggie and Paul's death actually brings attention to another death that has connections to the Murdaugh family. It's like a plague of deaths.
Yeah.
There was a younger guy named Stephen Smith, and he had been murdered. It had happened a few years before Maggie and Paul's murder.
Before the boat accident, yes.
And the social media mill was kind of linking it all together. Like, wow, a lot of death is going around this family.
Yeah.
So Stephen Smith was driving home on the night of July 8th in 2015. It was 2 a.m. and his car apparently broke down about 3 miles from Alec and Maggie Murdaugh's home. He began walking down the dark country road, and something happened. A truck driver called 911 saying that he saw somebody laying in the middle of the road and, was going to get ran over if he wasn't moved.
Yeah.
So they responded and found Stephen dead. Later, the family of Stephen was also told that he had been beaten by a blunt object. Then the final outcome was said to be pedestrian versus vehicle. So basically, he was beaten by a blunt object, but they said it was a hit and run.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Like, this poor kid is just laying there beaten, broken, and nothing's ever done about it.
No. They claimed he had been walking down a dark road to get gas for his car.
Yeah.
But he had his cell phone and his car keys in his pocket, but his wallet was still in the car. So how was he going to get gas?
Yeah.
The final conclusion by the pathologist was that this was a hit and run. Stephen's clothes weren't torn, and his shoes were still on.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from experience, having been hit by a motorcycle, and this wasn't even a car, this was just a motorcycle. I flew out of both of my shoes, and I flew 2 car lengths. So both of my shoes were still standing in the spot that I had been standing in when I got hit. That's typical. Most people fly out of their shoes,
the force of it is,
when they're tumbling, their shoes fly off. You just don't realize the force of
that motorcycle accident that happened in front of my house when I was living next to Dad. Not only did it rip his shoes off, but it pulled his pants like over a foot down.
Yeah.
Like, his pants and his underwear were like, just the force of it like yanked everything down. It was wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
So his clothes weren't torn. His shoes were still on. He had just a couple of abrasions on his hands and the insides of his arms, but the majority of his injuries were to his head. But people hit by a car usually have a broken pelvis or knees. That's what happened to me.
Unless they're bent in front, you know what I mean? Like, it just didn't make any sense. Yeah.
No, it just makes no sense. And they're thrown, and then they tumble, and they get scrapes
disheveled and yes.
Yeah, all over, and their clothes are torn. So to anybody on the outside, this looked like Stephen was killed somewhere else, and his body was laid in the road. But the kids that went to school with Stephen blamed Buster Murdaugh for Stephen's death.
So it was basically like right away, for some reason, the police were willing to say it was a hit and run. The coroner was willing to say it was a hit and run. And none of the adults in the situation were like, that was it, like, close the book. But the kids at school were hearing rumors and hearing stories and asking questions. And like, there was like one common thread that kept going up in the rumor mill. And so texts and tweets are happening, and it's Buster's name that keeps getting brought up.
Exactly. So tips were given to the police about Buster and Alec being involved in Stephen's death, but neither of them were ever investigated. Rumor had it that Buster was gay, and his father either found out or was about to find out, and it looked bad.
Stephen was gay.
Did I say Alec?
Well, you said Buster, and that's true. There was a rumor, like, there was this like low key feeling
Stephen
that
was gay.
Stephen was gay. And so again, even if Buster was never involved, like, why aren't we looking at a hate crime? A young gay kid in this southern town gets his fucking head knocked in, and we're not looking at a hate crime at all. Like, that just didn't make any sense. And so, yeah, so a rumor, Buster never had a girlfriend. Buster was, like Mom said earlier, like, not the partier, not the go out type. He was a little more reserved and studious and things. And yeah, there was a rumor that Buster never had a girlfriend because Buster didn't like girls. And like, whatever, if that's the case, except for he is a part of this prestigious family with these like Southern traditional values. And my guess is that Daddy wouldn't like that very much. So whatever Buster was doing or thinking about doing was very much on the down low.
Here was the thing about Stephen. He was openly gay. He had been picked on in Hampton. It was really looked down on in Hampton to be gay, but Stephen wasn't afraid to be who he was.
Yeah, it's a very like small-minded, old school place. But this kid was just like absolutely like, fuck you then. And like living his life out loud. And
he knew his family supported him, and that's all that mattered. He just didn't care what people thought.
He had a close-knit group of people who just loved him for him, and they were like genuinely like a good group of friends and a good family, like a loving family and accepting family.
Yeah, he was a twin. He had a twin sister named Stephanie.
And they're just all left feeling like Stephen didn't matter at all. Like no one cared.
No.
Like, well, good, the gay guy's gone anyways. Now
right.
We don't have to deal with that. Like, yeah, they just felt what's the word I'm looking for? Helpless. Just no one would help them figure out what happened. No one cared.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
I didn't hear, though, that it was Alec that did it. I heard that it was Paul.
Oh.
That, like, Paul and a group of his friends, like, jumped him. Like, I thought that's what's popping into my head. When you said Alec, I was like, oh. I heard that, like, people found out that Buster and him were talking or meeting up or something, and Paul didn't go after his brother about it. He just, like, they saw him on the side of the road or whatever, and they got out and, like,
took care of him,
teased him and, like, jumped him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought. But again, now, like, I wish I would have rewatched the documentary again, but one way or another.
Well, here was the thing. Before he was killed, Stephen had told his mom that he was going deep sea fishing with a friend. And he didn't tell her who it was. He just said it was a prominent friend. So it was supposed to be a trip to Key West. That's all his mom knew. And she really hadn't thought much about it until she was made aware after his death that there were pictures on social media of the Murdaughs deep sea fishing in Key West, as though Buster had been the friend that invited him to come.
Buster was going to invite him to come.
And then it just kind of makes sense that Alec might have heard, maybe from Paul, hey, you know, this guy that Buster's inviting.
Buster's bringing a friend, Dad, but did you know that the friend is gay?
Right.
Like, so how's that going to look? Like,
yeah. So fast forward back to 2021. People are really suspicious of Alec Murdaugh, who seems to be associated to 3 separate deaths or murders. And then Labor Day weekend came, and another 911 call from Alec. It was now September 4th in 2021.
Before you go any further, I want to say it also makes sense that if Alec had a talk with Paul, like, we can't have this gay kid in this scandal, and Buster better not be gay, like, somebody should take care of this. And, like, Alec encouraged Paul to do this hate crime.
Could have been.
That Paul, like I said, I don't get the feeling that Paul was a sociopathic kid. I get the feeling that he was buried under all of these things, you know, like
that makes sense.
From a manipulative dad and this upbringing and the drinking and all of this stuff. And he was just deep. Like, I think there would have been salvation if you could remove him from that situation, is what I think. But
that rings
regardless,
true.
We won't know. But
it would also ring true if he did do that to Stephen,
and then was drinking himself to death.
Yeah,
and acting so reckless because he couldn't tell anybody. You know, like he's troubled. He's acting out because he doesn't have any fucking resources. It's not even like he can go to counseling because everybody in that town, he just knows his dad and his grandpa will walk right in there and, you know what I mean? Like I'm not condoning his behavior or excusing it. I'm just saying if you think about it, like in a psychological sense, that kind of tracks and you can kind of see how it ended up where it ended up.
Yeah.
And then it would make even more sense again. So now his dad had him, I'm just theorizing. His dad had him do this hate crime for him to save face for the family. So with the stress of that and the guilt of that are eating away at him, he starts drinking and partying, and the dad can't really say too much. And then he kills this girl on the boat by acting like an irresponsible little fuck. And that's now that has to eat away at him. And this kid has to have a breaking point. You know what I mean? Like, and the mom is seeing all of this go on. And I'm sure she is not oblivious to any of this, even if she's not being told directly. I'm sure she can see what her son's going through.
Right.
The mom probably gets to a point where she's like, we're fucking up our son. Like he's hurting. Like our son is deeply hurting and he's done all these terrible things that now he's going to have to live with. And that's probably causing turmoil. If the son snaps and starts telling everybody, like, I was the one driving the boat, I feel terrible, or wait till you find out about Stephen and outs the story. It's going to implicate his dad in both of those scenarios, that his dad knew about both of those things and covered it up. Meanwhile, he was a minor when some of this shit happened. And
not only is he going to go to prison, but then there could be a lawsuit, and the most important thing
civil
to them,
suits,
is wealth. And
they're going to have to pay Stephen's family a shitload of money. They're going to have to pay Mallory's family a shitload of money, and quite honestly, the 4 other kids on the boat could probably get money out of it too for pain and suffering, the trauma and the medical expenses that they incurred and things like that, and the counseling they incurred. You know, all the things. So.
And he is definitely aware of all
and
that.
Maggie's probably advocating for her son and not advocating for the cover-up. And so now Maggie's a risk. Now Maggie's a liability. So both Paul and Maggie have to go, you know?
Mm-hmm. That makes perfect sense. So, okay, where are we at? Oh, the 911 call in September, right after Labor Day. Alec claimed that his tire went flat and somebody stopped to help him. And when he turned his back, they shot him in the side of the head. The bullet entered like behind his ear and then exited the back of his head. Alec gave a detailed description of his assailant, and the sketch of this person coincidentally looked a lot like Anthony, who was Mallory's boyfriend, the person in the boat that Paul had crashed.
Yes, the boy that I was saying was like absolutely beside himself when all this stuff happened, and he was such a sweet kid.
Yes.
Or young man, I guess I shouldn't say kid, but
yeah.
But
he's a kid to us. We're old people.
Yeah. If you're like a day younger than me, I'm like, what's up, kid? But yeah, again, this call happens and it's a thing that you're like, what?
So you're like, okay, Maggie and Paul got shot. Now Alec got shot. Are they trying to kill off the entire family? Is there a plot?
Yeah, but you got shot, but in a weird fucking spot, non-fatal. You're making your own 911 call. It's amazing how they were so easily able to shoot precisely and kill and mow down your wife and your son, but you get shot here.
Right.
Like what?
2 days after that, Alec announces that he's going to enter rehab for a drug addiction. So he apparently has had a severe opiate addiction for several years. And he'd been to detox a couple of times, but had never gone to the rehabilitation program. Next in the saga, Alec is accused of stealing millions of dollars from his own law firm, his clients.
The plot thickens.
I mean, it just goes on and on. It's like you said, it could be a TV series. His company alleged...
The Netflix series inevitably will be wonderful. Yeah.
His company alleged that over a period of 9 years, he had stolen $7 million.
I think that he got wind that people were looking into him and that things were like that it was like, look over here, my son and my wife got murdered. Look at this shiny thing over here.
Yes.
And he was hoping that it would distract from this other shit that was going on, from this mounting pressure of like, the town was in turmoil. You know, Mallory was dead. Stephen was dead. Stephen really kind of got fucked though. Like there was never anything said about them. His like poor, sweet, small family was the only ones like hanging posters for him. Mallory's was a much bigger deal. There was more kids involved in it that were willing to be like, that was fucked up. We were there. Paul was wrong. No one was coming forward to talk about Stephen. So that got swept under the rug. Unfortunately, it's tragic. But the whole Mallory thing made that kind of a little bit like, well, maybe that's weird. But like, then you have this like, look at this murder and it's not working. And he's realizing that people are still like distracted and like looking over here at him. So then he's like, well, I gotta fucking shoot myself in the head to make it look like someone's out to get us. When I don't want to die, I better make sure I save face. I'm going to, do it back here. And then he does like what politicians do, which is when you realize the pressure's mounting, I'll go to rehab and it'll be this amazing story of my triumph over a drug addiction. And, like I had a problem. Again, like not like a true going to rehab because you really realize you have a problem, but like a going to rehab actually to avoid accountability further.
Yeah, it's just PR.
Yeah. And then that's not where, and then the fucking real bombs start dropping and yeah, it's like, ugh.
So in the midst of all of this hullabaloo, I love that word.
Hullabaloo. I can't say it.
I just love words like that.
I know you do.
Haberdashery.
There was some fucking haberdashery going on.
Savoir-faire.
My mom and her words.
Okay, so an arrest was made in connection with the shooting of Alec. His name was Curtis Smith, and he was a 61-year-old man that was a distant relative of Alec's. They became friends. And Curtis was supposedly, according to Alec, the supplier of Alec's drugs. So, what was his motive for wanting Alec dead? 2 days after the shooting of Alec, investigators held a telephone interview with Alec and 2 of his lawyers. Alec, during this interview, confessed that he had been purchasing pills from Curtis for years. He was giving Curtis $40,000 to $60,000 a week sometimes. Apparently, that's why he was stealing from his own company to pay for his drug habit. Then, Alec admitted that things were looking very bad for himself, and he thought it would be better off if he wasn't there anymore. He said he asked Curtis to shoot him, and Curtis agreed to do this for free, and Alec staged the whole flat tire scenario. And he said he did this because he wanted his son Buster to get his $12 million life insurance money. So, the Murdaugh family has always lived with the mindset of preserving power and wealth, and this plan would have been right in line with that thinking. So Curtis was arrested for conspiring to kill Alec. Curtis actually said he wasn't going to do it. At the last minute, he decided, no, too risky, don't want to risk getting in trouble for this.
This is dumb.
But the gun went off accidentally last minute, which is why it wasn't aimed properly. Curtis also denies being Alec's drug dealer. Whatever. He was charged with insurance. So Alec was charged with insurance fraud and submitting a false police report. And he had a $20,000 bond and was released on his own recognizance. $20,000.
Which is fucking laughable. This guy that just admitted that all this other shit was plot and schemed. Meanwhile, his son and his wife have been murdered. Mm-hmm. This young gay boy's been murdered. There's this huge cover-up going on about what actually happened on the boat. Yeah. Even though Paul was being charged for it finally. But that took years to happen. And $20,000 bond.
Yeah. They could have held him and done some investigating. But, okay, so...
Yeah, homie, if you want rehab, sit in a cell.
The thinking of the townspeople at that time was that if he's shrewd enough to plot his own murder, why not plot the murder of others? This is where Gloria Satterfield enters the case. She was the longtime housekeeper of Alec and Maggie Murdaugh, and she died under suspicious circumstances. It looks suspicious now, put it that way. On February 2nd of 2018, Maggie called 911. She said her housekeeper fell and her head was bleeding. She said she fell going up the steps, and she was conscious, but just mumbling, not making any sense. So Gloria was rushed to the hospital with an internal brain bleed. She also had 12 broken ribs. She died 3 weeks later. And then there was a petition for her insurance money of $4.3 million by Alec Murdaugh. And none of the money went to Gloria's family. So not only did Alec benefit from his housekeeper, but he was found to have stolen from his clients as well.
Yeah.
So it's looking bad for him. I can see why he was feeling like, maybe I should just end it all. I'm going to go to prison.
And like I said, Maggie and the kids probably had to know about this. And Paul was drinking and could get drunk and blab. Or, Buster was a little more controllable. Paul was not. Paul was a loose cannon. And Maggie was probably aware of the opioid addiction and the money purging and maybe not the full extent of it, but like a wife will know when something's off, and
sure.
There's these loose ends to your perfect image now.
Yeah. It's so sick. The thing about Alec was that he preyed on the people that were in desperate need of his help. So, as soon as he got out of rehab in October of 2021, he was arrested. and accused of stealing the $4.3 million from Gloria Satterfield's son. He received a $7 million bond this time. And he was also charged with stealing $10.5 million from his clients. So originally he claimed, I stole $7 million. They said, no, it was $10.5 million. We're just going to be very clear about that.
Yeah. Well, remember at this point, too, his dad is dead. So the patriarch that had really been the mastermind of the family and running everything and keeping the lid on everything is gone. And his Nepo baby, Alec, is popping fucking pills and not thinking right. And there's no one to lead the show anymore. And left to his own devices, Alec is fucking crumbling.
For sure. Yeah, it's all coming down. So to top it off, now investigators announced that Alec Murdaugh is a person of interest in the deaths of his wife and son. So he was indicted in July of 2022 for those murders, and he pled not guilty. In January of 2023, that trial commenced. So the motive, as you said, to take the focus off of his financial crimes that were closing in on him. The standout moment in the trial was Alec sobbing in the patrol car talking about his family's murders. He sobbed out, "It's just so bad. I did him so bad." But Alec claims he said, "It's just so bad they did him so bad. Not I did him so bad." Prosecution called it a Freudian slip, but on the tape, it's funny because some people hear I and some people hear they.
Yeah.
And that's something that can legitimately happen.
The southern drawl and the crying and the...
When I listened to it, I thought he said I. Did you hear it?
Yes, but I don't remember.
You don't remember. Because they played it slowed down even, and to me it sounded like I. But it could have been they. It just didn't sound like they to me. It sounded like I did him so bad. I did him so bad. They did him so bad.
Yeah.
That did him so bad. To me, it sounded like I.
Yeah.
So the key piece of evidence they had was actual video footage of Alec in the dog kennel on the night of the murder. So Paul was recording his friend's dog on the cell phone. And Maggie was in the background talking to Alec. Now, Alec had claimed he had been visiting his mother at that time, that the video was stamped.
Yeah.
But you can distinctly hear Alec's voice on the video because Maggie's yelling, "He's got a bird in his mouth." And Alec goes, "Come here, Bubba." And then, do you like my accent?
I do.
Then Paul says, "Hey, Bubba." And then you can hear Alec calling the dog several times. That was recorded at 8:44 p.m. And Alec was definitely there just minutes before his wife and son were murdered. When he had said he was at his mother's, it proved that he was lying.
Yeah.
So next, there was a Snapchat video of Alec uploaded by Paul at 7:56 that night. So at 7:56, which was like about 50 minutes before the video.
Yeah, yes.
Paul had uploaded a video to Snapchat. It was him showing Alec was like, they had this tree and they were trying to get it to stand up, but the wind was blowing and it kept just completely bending over. It was just like a skinny tree about the size of my arm, but it just kept bending over. And that's all it was. But Alec was wearing khaki pants, loafers, and a seafoam green shirt. But then when you see the video of the police coming up to the 911 call of Alec about his wife and son being murdered, it's the same day, just an hour later.
Yeah.
Alec was wearing a white t-shirt and a pair of shorts, as well as a different pair of shoes.
Like basketball. He was like lounging. Yeah.
So he had been wearing an hour before that seafoam green shirt, khaki pants, and loafers. Now he's wearing a white t-shirt, pair of shorts, and different shoes. Okay. The seafoam shirt, khakis, and loafers were never found. It implied that there was something that would have tied Alec to the murders, so he destroyed them and changed clothes before calling 911.
Yeah, because what else do you say? Like, yeah, sue me. I got home from work in my worky works and went and bitched about this limp dick tree with my son on Snapchat, and then I went inside and I changed my clothes before I went to check on my mom or whatever his fucking story was. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If that's the case, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I come home, I change my fucking clothes too. I want to be in something comfortable.
Yeah.
Nothing sinister. I can show you where the clothes I took off were.
Right.
I can provide them simply in the top of the basket because they're the last thing I threw in the dirty clothes pile.
Right.
So where the fuck are the clothes? Like, what's your fucking... Oh, I took them off and accidentally dropped them in a vat of acid. Like, oops, oopsie. Like, it does, like, it doesn't make any sense.
No. To drive the point home, prosecution called Blanca. She was the Murdaugh's current housekeeper. She definitely recognized the khakis and the seafoam shirt. And she was the one who did the laundry. She said she had never seen the clothes again after that night. Also, Blanca said he was pacing back and forth saying, I got a bad feeling, over and over again to her. And then he asked her if she remembered the Vinnie Vine shirt he was wearing. But she knew he had been wearing the seafoam polo shirt because she had fixed the collar for him. And it wasn't the Vinnie Vine shirt collar, and it wasn't the same material as the Vinnie Vine shirt.
Right.
It was the polo seafoam shirt. She distinctly remembered it. So this again shows Alec's shrewdness. He thought he was going to manipulate her
into being
like,
confused about what she saw with her own eyes.
I do remember the Vinnie Vine shirt. Yeah. Or, thinking maybe I should say this for him for some reason,
Oh, so I don't get murdered.
Exactly. So, basically, 60 witnesses testified. They rested, and the jury deliberated. And on March 2nd of 2023, they found Alec Murdaugh guilty of 2 counts of murder. The jury only deliberated for 3 hours, and he was sentenced to 2 life sentences.
I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, they took the jury to the property and walked them through where it happened. By the dog kennels and stuff, so they could see where the bullets had hit and what had happened and who was where when it happened, and
they were very thorough.
Yeah,
very thorough.
And that was like a lot of imagery for the jury, and on top of the other evidence and the stuff that he just couldn't explain, the stuff he was so sure about that he told over and over again. This story about visiting his mom and stuff that then when you were like, well, why are you on this video? Then you can't come up with an explanation of how you got to your mom's.
Right.
And how you forgot about a whole part of your evening, so.
Yeah. So, remember Mallory Beach, the girl that had
passed away on the boat?
Yes, on the boat. Her family got $15 million from a civil suit against the convenience store that sold Paul the alcohol. The family started a foundation called Mal's Pals. And it's spelled MAL''S, and then Pals is spelled PALZ. And this was in honor of Mallory's love of animals. It's a local animal shelter in Hampton. So I love that they did that. Yeah. I love when a family turns something that is so tragic and try to do something positive in the person's name.
Yeah.
That makes it's just a little bit of a silver lining to something that's unbearable.
Yeah, agreed.
Then we get Stephen Smith's mother begged for a new autopsy, and they did, and ruled his death a homicide. So it is currently unsolved, but now it's a homicide. Gloria's case is still ongoing for the $4.3 million that her son is
from her untimely death,
right?
Of a fall up the stairs.
She was the housekeeper that Alec had a life insurance policy out on. Yeah. Then On November 17th of 2023, Alex pled guilty to 22 financial crimes, and he was sentenced to an additional 27 years. So, wow. What a saga. I mean, this guy, this family are the epitome of evil. They could have been the mafia.
There's a few different documentaries on it, and they're all worth watching. But there's one that really covers, like, it really goes through the details of how the housekeeper tripped and fell and how that story just doesn't line up. It goes through the timeline of that, and it talks a lot about Stephen and gives his family a space to tell his story and to advocate. And it's really good. It's worth a watch if you haven't watched it yet. It's very good.
Okay.
Yeah, but that one is wild.
I know.
Just like pulling a thread of a sweater, just keeps coming undone and undone. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you stuck with us this long, we'd like to thank you. If you have not already subscribed, please do. Leave us a comment, leave us a like. We appreciate everything that you think and would like to share. And you got to stick around for the next case because it's going to be another good one.
A good case about murder. All right, guys. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.